This is Dying Light 2. We're here on PlayStation 5 Pro. It's enhanced. Be sure to like the video. Subscribing is great as well. That's right, we're here on the PS5 Pro Enhanced Dying Light 2 experience, where we've got 4 different graphical options and a lot to show you. Thankfully, they added the ability to skip the prologue. So that's awesome to see, considering we don't have the cross progression here. So very, very kind of them to do that. This is a very visually impressive and incredibly detailed game that we'll be able to enjoy here on the PlayStation 5 Pro. It's actually quite gorgeous looking on here. I think you'll be relatively blown away by the quality and the fidelity of the experience as we parkour across the rooftops here, and it just kind of gives us a little bit of a settling into the experience. So if you've not played Dying Light, it's essentially kind of like Dead Island, but parkour. I think that's pretty fair to say. And you have great movement and verticality and options. Ow! Whoa. I'm just gonna let the stamina build up. It's true, I won't. As you parkour and make your way through the city. And it's an open environment that's filled to the brim with things for you to do, and enemies for you to fight, and zombies for you to kill, whether you do so alone or with others cooperatively. And yeah, this is really genuinely quite gorgeous. So here, first off, we're on the balanced mode. I should mention there is HDR across the experience, so, you know, high dynamic range, which is great. So we're on the balanced mode, and balanced mode is 1512p, which is being upscaled to 4K, at 60 FPS, with global illumination, screen space reflections, and subsurface scattering quality. There we go. Bam. Lots of wording, lots of phrasing going on in this one. I know, right? Pretty cool. Not a bad way to play the game. Kind of gives you, again, a balanced setup. One that is visually quite impressive, and one that has a pretty good sense of performance level to it, which I think is kind of fantastic if you are into, you know, that setup. And like I said, there is going to be 4 different visual settings and a lot to go over, which is exciting. Okay, so we've done balanced mode. Let's take a look at those other options that we have here. So video, as you saw, we're on balanced. We're going to switch over to quality. We're going to let it do its little thing. It's got to, you know, flicker on, and then we get back into the game. It just takes a second for the experience to basically recognize things on the capture card, and, you know, the VRR kicking in and everything like that. And yeah. So for this mode, for quality mode, it's 1440p to 4K. It's ray traced. Whoa! And better contact shadows, global illumination, and subsurface scattering. So this is kind of like if you really want to get a feel for the effects of like ray tracing and how that can change how a game looks lighting wise and stuff like that. This is a fun mode to play with. I personally think this mode is a little bit more like future proofing, so if they come back on, like, you know, for the PS6, I think they might kind of like, you know, use this sort of thing as a bit of an unlock mode down the road. That's what I theorize this is for. Or, you know, honestly, it just very well could be something to show off, like, the beauty and the ray tracing effects. It's not really the way that I would kind of recommend playing this experience, because I don't think parkour and combat feels good to me. Like, the slower, like, I think you can really feel, like, the lower, like, frame rate here. So
you don't collect them?
there you go on that one. So that's kind of quality mode. I wouldn't really say play this mode unless you do want to just kind of try it out and see if you like it. Okay. So now we're going to switch to the next mode. Yeah, just bear with me. We've got a lot to go with. So this is the resolution mode that we're going with here. I know, right? Lots to deal with. Oh, and we have Pisser across the board too. I forgot to mention this is using Pisser. The resolution mode, though, which is what we're playing right now, is the only mode that does not use Pisser. So this is your, well, native 4K at 30 FPS. It's got better contact shadows. It's got global illumination, screen space reflections, and the subsurface scattering that they really seem to kind of love in this one. Actually, I think this would be a better spot to show off the... one sec here, I kind of want to change to the ray tracing thing, which I don't know if it's going to do that video pop again. No, because these two seem to be sharing stuff. Kind of a little shimmery. Just usually bodies of water and lighting are kind of like the best showcases of, like, I guess you would say ray tracing in effect, usually. It's also, we're not really doing a whole lot here because we're too focused on talking about performances and visual settings. So this is also not really the mode I would recommend to play on, but it is an interesting mode if you do want to see the game at its absolute sort of resolution limit for the console. I think this is a pretty good way to go about it. Just to kind of give it a glimpse. Again, these modes to me kind of speak to like future-proofing, or more being like, hey, you want visual candy and you don't mind frame rate. This is kind of the way to go. But with a game that is so reliant on like quick movement, fast responses, and stuff like that, you know, not really the ideal way to do things. And then we have what might be maybe my favorite mode outside of balanced, I would say. And it's going to do the flickering thing here in a sec, and we should get back into the action. This is the performance mode. Oh, the sun's getting real low. So for performance mode, this is really, really quite special in terms of giving you fluidity and resolution. You're actually not even really getting the full scope of what I'm experiencing when I play this mode, because this mode is really genuinely cool and special. So, for performance mode, it's another one of those 1440p upscaled to 4K. But with VRR, it actually uncaps the frame rate. So you can have 4K essentially, well, you know, it's 1440p and then it's like scaled up, going to 120 FPS, which is fantastic. And you get the better contact shadows, you get the global illumination, you get the screen space reflections, the spot shadows, subsurface scattering, and better fog. Yeah, that's right, better fog. That's the dream. Gotta get some Silent Hill fog going up in here. Don't you hate when that happens? There we go. I've got a stick. Got a great stick. A mighty stick. The best stick there ever was. I ride into high gear. So performance mode, I think, is really great. Like, if you have a VRR, variable refresh rate, enabled display, I would say this is kind of your go-to mode. It still looks really good. I mean, balanced, really nice. You get, like, the visual bumps and everything like that. That's fantastic. And balanced is, like, a preferable mode, I'd say. But if you do have the TV to support it, getting this game running super smooth, looking good, and feeling well to play is genuinely a recommended choice and way to go about this. We're going to show it off during the day too, don't worry, we just got to get through this night parkour section and stuff like that. But mostly what I love about Dying Light 2, from a technical perspective, is they give you so many options for how you want to play and enjoy the game on console. Which is really rather exciting because there's quite a few games that do this kind of thing, right? But there's few games that go to the extent of giving you so many different visual graphic modes that you can enjoy. And that in itself, I think, is rather special. The game itself, the prologue is insanely large, which is why I was celebrating the fact that you can skip it now when you go to start. The campaign, I don't know if the story is quite as interesting and as exciting. But there's lots of different missions to do. It's a fun city to parkour around in. Lots of zombies to take on. Lots of different characters to meet. Different weapons, different quirks. It's an interesting game. It really is. I think you can have a lot of fun playing this, and you know, it's not bad. Like, I played through a little bit of it because I got it very late. You know, they kind of weren't... Like, it wasn't great because I didn't get access to it to review and stuff, so I had to, like, check it out way later on, and, you know, so that was a little disappointing because I didn't get to really, like, showcase it right when it launched, and I did eventually get to... Where are you leading me to? Oh, up here, that makes sense. Follow the light, am I right? So that was a little disappointing, but then I got to check it out on Series X and do a little bit of it. Now I get to take a look at it on the PS5 Pro, and I think that's fantastic, and it's... You know, it's great that the devs are kind of willing to do that, because basically the big change-up for me in getting access to this was actually getting a contact directly at the group, and, like, actually at the, you know, the company behind the game. Whereas before, basically, like, you know, the third-party groups were the ones that were making it, so I wasn't able to access this, so I really do appreciate the devs actually, like, you know, when I chatted to them, stepping in and being like, oh yeah, no, go ahead and take a look at Dying Light 2 and enjoy it and share it and everything, so I am very, very appreciative of that opportunity to be able to do so. Because this is a very, very impressive PS5 Pro enhanced offering. Honestly, like, visually it looks great, lots of different graphical modes to play with, using the magic of Pisser. That's, you know, what more could you really kind of desire as you go around the city of the undead and try to make decisions that will, you know, keep you alive. And you get to meet some interesting characters and do some crazy things, you know. It's your typical Dying Light experience. It's also really quite worth it if you liked this one and didn't play the first for whatever reason. The first game is actually really quite enjoyable as well. Because it did come from the origins of, like, Dead Island, if you played that series. And they just added, like, better movement and parkour and allowed you to have, verticality and allowed you to play around with elevation. Yeah. It's a good time. And they did some interesting stuff. It is funny, though, because, like, I was literally invited early on at E3 to see the very first showcase of this game, and then I didn't get to review it, and I was like, eh. Like, I have the big statue and everything, too. I'm looking at it right now, actually. And I don't know if they fully realized the choice-driven changes. Like, a huge part of their E3 showcase, when everything was still, like, kind of rough draft, was, like, you know, they were trying to create something where it's like every big choice you made completely radically changed the world. And I don't know if they fully got to that, but, you know, they're expanding the game, just like the first game had an incredible and expansive, like, wealth of support for post-launch content. They're doing more new expansional, like, content, new story content. And that's going to be really exciting to sort of keep up with, I guess you would say. I'm very, very eager to see more of that in action and enjoy more of this universe and stuff like that. I really do need to find more streaming time too, I guess, as well. Play some more of it down the road. That's the problem, to get so much content to check out. Always working on things, right? But this is a very, very impressive PlayStation 5 Pro enhanced offering. Look at this photograph.
Yeah, very fun.
So now we get to go into the bright world. Yeah, no one wants to go out at night. I thought we were sleeping for the day.
Once I was taking my second wife to the hospital. Never drove that fast.
That's hilarious, because you really don't get to see the
Months early.
beauty of this mode, playing it just at nighttime, basically. Like, I guess you got to see some of it because it was dawn, but...
Sorry.
Yeah, then we gotta do this hospital mission.
What normal person would want his kids to see a world like this?
Right? But if you don't have new kids, you know, then the population vanishes, and then there's no one left alive, and society collapses and all that. I deserve that. Literally put my face into that car door, I think I would die based on that. I've got the USB plug-in. But I think if you are looking for a good visual showcase of this game, this is like a very, very good way to go about it. I'm really quite impressed by this. It looks great. It plays very, very well. Especially from like a performance standpoint, like this is very fluid. Which again, YouTube doesn't really, you know, allow me to fully show what it could do. Like, that's the biggest shame. You just gotta kind of really take my word for it on some of this stuff, frame rate wise. I think even visually too. But yeah, that is a big problem. Is wanting to give you an idea of like what exactly you're getting here, and it's mostly this is kind of the ideal way to go about it, I would say for sure. This or balanced mode, with the other two modes being you have got to be kidding me. The other two modes being more about seeing the game at its absolute max. That's what those are for. And I guess you should play technically, I would say, on balanced if you're someone that doesn't have like 120 hertz display, right? That's kind of the big difference there. Whereas if you have the capability, uncap that and enjoy that high frame rate.
I've traveled thousands of kilometers.
Because it's nice.
Is there a problem for me?
Okay, just checking. I think this room should have all the instruments you need, Maestro.
I sure hope so. I wouldn't want to have to do some kind of ridiculous movement through this hospital having to fight various foes. I wouldn't like that one bit. That'd actually be quite annoying. Yes, lockpicking systems in video games, I know. Not that way. Oh.
You didn't lie. You know your stuff.
I had no other choice. Was forced to know my stuff.
Oh, come on. Oh yeah, and he's got the tragic past too, and all the emotional traumas of life and all that. And yeah, there's like a sad backstory. Prologue's actually kind of neat. Like, it's a little too long. Way too long. But you get to, like, you know, learn the ropes and then go on a little bit of an adventure thing with somebody. It's not a bad setup. It's just kind of like, if you want to actually get into the meat of the game, where you're visiting the city and all that, it is kind of annoying. Again, hence the celebration of actually realizing you could skip all of that. Yeah.
In front of us. Keep quiet.
This is going to be a lot of work. So anyways, I hope this kind of showcased this game. This improvement gave you an idea of things. I know darkness isn't our ally here, but, you know, kind of gives you a vibe and style of everything that they're trying to do with this one, and I would say, you know, an impressive showcase for sure. Bravo to the team for putting this together. I should have actually taken a look at this sooner. But, you know, you got so many games on the go, it's hard to keep up with all of the different options I've had to take a look at on the Pro. There's been a lot of choices, but this is very, very good and well set up offering for this, and hopefully it covered the different visual modes for you well, so you could make choices of what you're into, I suppose. Good luck surviving out there.